Yes. It is a beautiful spring morning in Baltimore, Maryland at Crooked Street Studio. You know I'm excited, right, T? Because it's so beautiful outside. Excited. I am, but all of the snow is gone. And if you are listening to this show, that means that you went online, you typed in, say it, T, tell them what they are, T.
Oh, www.crookedstreets.com. And you're listening to AskTeeWhy.
Exactly. That means that you tuned in. You decided that our show was was what? It was going to be like the best hour of your life, and you decided to stick around. So again, I'm T, and I'm in here with T Price. You are now listening to AskTeeWhy. We own Crooked Streets Radio at Crooked Streets Studio.
You forgot to sing our intro.
Just AskTeeWhy. And I have something to say about our intro because we have a guest. And I want to talk about that intro. But our guest for this wonderful show is Lisa Borden. She is the president. Lisa, am I correct? The president or the
CEO,
the director, the creator
lady
of Borden Transportation and of Borden Consulting. Then we also have another guest who we will talk to on our second half, Mr. Kyle Nightshot. I got some things to say about that. We're going to talk with him on our second half, right? T?
Yeah.
And then also we are going to speak with both of our guests on our last and final half of our show. Right. I think I should say last half. What is it? Segment. Conclusion. I don't have time for ending. Exactly. All right. So first we're going to start with Lisa Borden of Borden Transportation and Borden Consulting. Everybody say hello, Lisa.
Hey, Lisa.
Hello. Can we get a round of applause?
Yeah.
We did. And as I stated, Lisa is a business owner. She started both of her businesses from the ground up. She is a female. She works you work with the school board, right, Lisa?
Yes.
And she also works with she also owns a transportation company. Am I correct?
That is correct.
So I'm excited because I don't think I know anyone that works with the school board, especially Baltimore City School Board, if you know what I'm talking about. Ratchet. So Lisa,
have some hope.
Maybe, T. Maybe.
Right,
Maybe a little bit, maybe. So Lisa, can you tell us how you started with the whole working with the school board thing like at all? Because I don't think that anybody said like, I'm going to come out of college, I am going to get a degree, and I am going to be a consultant for the school board. Nobody says that. So how did that come about?
I was in school at the University of Baltimore, and my mother was the principal of Utah Marshburn Elementary, which is basically 5 minutes away from the school. So in between classes, she said, come on by, and I did. Before long, she was assigned tasks to me, and one of the things she asked me to do one day was pay an invoice, which I had no idea how to do, but she sent me over to her area office to find out. I worked with the business manager, and she, taught me all about it. So I did my mother's budget, and I was a volunteer because obviously she's my mother. I couldn't get paid. But other principals heard about the service, and it was something that they never heard about, and they were interested in because there are so many responsibilities put on principals. They're like CEOs of many companies. So anything that they can outsource, they look forward to doing so they can focus on instruction and making sure the academic program is being fulfilled. And then other principals contacted me, and before long, it blossomed into a business.
So are you the only one that's doing that? That's outsourcing and consulting for the Baltimore City school system? Is it competition or?
Well, I've been doing it for 8 years, and I started it. It was my whole concept. After 2 years into it, they put it out for bid. So it made me a little nervous because this was my business that I started, and it was open for other people to bid on. But thankfully, I did win the bid the first time.
All right.
And then it's gone out for bid one other time, and now there's 2 other companies that can also do it.
So what do you mean by bid? I mean, like it went out for a bid. So does that mean that, I don't know what it means. Can you explain that to me? Because I'm just really confused right now.
There's a procurement process through Baltimore City Public Schools, and there's a bid that comes out, and there's a certain set of qualifications and like a whole packet that you have to put together to get board approved. And in order to make more than $25,000 from Baltimore City Public Schools, you need to be board approved. Then procurement reviews your packet, and if you have the qualifications and everything is in order, then it's also based on price, then you can win the contract. So I'm actually up for bid again Thursday.
Oh.
And prayerfully, I will win for another 3 years.
Do you think that you're going to win?
I leave it in God's hands. I hope that
that you're going to win.
I hope that.
No, that's right. I know that's right. Now, what type of licensing do you need in order to do this whole thing?
You don't need any license to be a consultant. You need to be registered with the state of Maryland at the Department of Taxation and Assessment for your name and your business, so that you can pay annually and make sure that you're in good standing. And you also need a tax ID number so that you can, if you have employees, or that you can receive payment for services.
Okay.
So are you consulting for just the school, or do you do small businesses?
We also do small business consulting. We can do small business startup, help you develop a marketing plan, or register you with the state and the federal government to get your tax ID number. Basically anything
So you
to
do
help
all the
with business.
legwork pretty much?
Yes.
Okay.
No, that's right, T.
Yeah.
Now, what I want to know is, especially with Baltimore City, they're always in the news. They're always saying that the schools don't have no money. They can't pay for anything. They don't got no money for books. The kids are sitting in schools where they don't have any heat. There was a school, I don't know if that was a part of Baltimore City. I know that there are schools in the city, but there was a school a few weeks ago where they shut it down because they didn't have no gas and electric. So, Borden Consulting, do y'all handle their bills, or you handle like their budget, or organize their field trips, their vending machines? Like, what is it that you actually do for the schools? Because from what I hear, they don't have no money.
Principals have autonomy, meaning principals are assigned their budget for their individual schools, and they can determine to a certain extent how many teachers they have, where they put money for what, to a certain extent. Now, they do have ratios, especially for special ed, that they have certain teachers that they have to have. They also receive positions that are through locked funds, which are funding through central office. So there are some teachers that they don't pay for out of their budget, they're given to them. The gas and electric, central office covers those kind of things for the building. They're covered by central office, so a principal wouldn't be responsible for paying that out of their budget.
Oh.
So what would you say is your favorite aspect of being an entrepreneur?
I like the flexibility involved with building my own schedule. Sometimes people have the misconception that when you're your own boss, you work less. You actually, in my opinion, you work more. Because it is yours, and you're not going to get off at 5 o'clock if you have things to do. A lot of days I work 14, 15 hours, but it's to build a business, for myself. Right. But if I want to go to my son's lacrosse game and take 2 hours off, I can do that. So I don't have to make an appointment or fill out a sheet to get off. I'm off when I want to be off.
Right.
Now, as I said earlier, you just don't have Borden Consulting. You have Borden Transportation.
Yes.
Which I just found out last weekend that there was a concert at the Royal Farms Arena. Why did they name that damn arena? I'm not okay with that. But that's for another show. But they had I think it was it was Keith Sweat, Drew Hill, SWV, Genuine, and Slick Rick. Now, my question is, who made it possible so that they got off of the plane, they made it to their hotel? SWV may have ran some errands, and then they got back to the hotel, and then they went to the show. They did the show, and then they went home. Who made that possible? Well, Borden Transportation had that contract. My drivers made it possible. So let's talk about the transportation company. How did that come about? Because I do have contracts, and they're only 3-year contracts with Baltimore City. I definitely didn't want to put all my eggs in one basket, so I considered about 2 years ago, what else could I do just in case, and have that supplemental income just in case. So I've always liked cars, and I thought transportation would be an interesting business to get into and fun. Now, what vehicles do you have for anybody that may need your services? Because I know this winter, last winter, I think I made it to work in a few vehicles. Let me just see. Everybody knows that I do not drive in snow, sleet, or heavy rain, and I called them just about every day for one winter. You literally just gotta go down the street. And I ain't even care. I was on that phone. At 6:30. Like, Lisa Borden, can you send somebody come get me? Because I don't drive in this. So, what sort of vehicles do you have for your service? We have sedans, SUVs, large passenger vans,
coach buses, party buses, you name it, any kind of transportation, limousines. We will get you there.
I know that's right. T. Why I'm excited,
I know, right?
T. Because we got some birthdays coming up. We got some things happening. So, do you think that having a business that you started from the ground up, do you think that it makes you powerful in like a sort of way, or does it make you just a very ambitious person who you just kind of went after like what you wanted? You understand what I'm saying?
I had my first business when I was 9, and it's just something that's been in me. The hustle has been in me from early on. I mean, I was selling cards. I used to print them out and color them in with magic markers and sell them to people. I had a booth at the fair at 10 selling cards. I would sell snowballs, books, you name it. I was out there selling it, and I had a bike shop. And I even had people working for me when I was 10 with the card business. I had little subcontractors. It's just something that's been in me. I really can't. I've always had a business.
Outside of work, so what do you do? It seems like work is 12, 14, 15 hours a day. Do you have any downtime?
You have to try to create downtime. And also I'm very selective about the things that I do. I think that in order to be successful, you have to prioritize. I'd love to make everybody's event. I'd love to watch every show the time that it comes on, but it's sometimes you just have to prioritize, and you can't do everything. You have to figure out what's important and focus on that.
As far as marketing, what type of marketing skills do you have? Do you do social media, flyers?
We do social media. We do ground campaigns. I'm old school. I think put the flyer on the car.
Right.
Go out to the schools or go out to the businesses and have them speak to them face to face. Emails are great, but we have to also get back. It's nothing like face to face and putting a face with a name.
That's the part I be struggling with a little bit, because it's like I produce these flyers, I spend all this money, and then you give it to somebody or a business card, and then they throw it to the side. So like I gotten to the point now where I just won't even do anything that has to do with paper production. It's all social media, but it sounds like it's working, and everybody's starting to go back to that now.
It does work because it's still very important.
Right.
Okay, now I have a question. It's not really a question, kind of a statement, but maybe a question. Now, one of your biggest influences is so funny because I never even thought that this person would be like an influencer, like your hero or your idol, until I met your little dog. I'm sorry, dog, because you ain't get on us.
Saying Dr. P. Like, what?
Because they get on us talking about some dog. Until I met your little baby. Who is your inspiration, your hero of all times?
John F. Kennedy.
Yeah. Now, why did you pick like John F. Kennedy, or like did he just kind of, you look at his picture and was like, oh, Kennedy, like what happened?
As a child of 2 educators, you have to do work in the summer. You can't just run around with kids. You have to read. You have to go to the library. You have to do book work, everything. So one of the books that I read early on was John F. Kennedy. And I think that I was inspired by the whole family's desire to serve, although they were very wealthy. And to care about people that are less fortunate, or, they didn't have the problems. They didn't have problems with money at all. So to be concerned about other people, genuinely concerned, and devote your life to service, I think that just left a lasting impression on me. And I also think that he is very beautiful.
You think that John F. Kennedy is beautiful?
Oh, my goodness, yes.
Well, from my understanding, from when I looked in the news, I heard he was a freak. Lisa, are you offended? I heard he was a freak. He was sleeping with Marilyn Monroe. That's what I heard.
I refuse to go through this.
I heard that he was a freak. I heard he was a player. I heard he was a cool president. And that he was a freak, he was a player, he was cheating on his wife, smoking cigarettes, sleeping with Marilyn Monroe. Now, from what I understand about you don't like cigarette smokers, but there are clearly pictures where he's sitting up in there, puffing away. How do you feel about that? I had to mess with you real quick,
I think he was a great man.
Like, I'm joking. Well, we're going to take a break really quick. We're going to come back. We're going to wrap it up with Miss Lisa Borden. Then we're going to go into with Mr. Kyle Nice Shot. Because I got some questions about that nice shot, T. We're going to take a break. We'll be back. This is AskTeeWhy.